My name is Onrie'S. You've seen me sell comics. I want to buy this comic.
Too bad, because that comic sucks!
You're watching Onrie'S Comic Mukbang Reviews. Prepare to get banged.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Onrie'S Mukbang Comic Reviews. This was a last-minute thing that I decided to do because there's never a perfect time to do it. I've been thinking about doing it for a while, but I finally got around to doing it now. So I just figured, why not run with it? And so I just put together this intro, created this room, and then went live. And this is a show that can be watched off hours too. We're just doing it live stream because why not? You know, and if you're in the room, feel free to say hi. I didn't plan this. I didn't promote it. Didn't do anything. So this is kind of like, I guess, a test or an experiment, whatever. But I figured this would give me a chance to kind of talk about some of the comics that I read every week, because every Wednesday I go to comic shops, I pick up new books, I read them, and then I kind of put them away, and I wait for opportunities to talk about them on my live sale shows. But today I kind of wanted to, I figured, why not talk about these books now while they're hot and while everybody's reading them and all that stuff, and give you my thoughts on them, because I just finished reading a big stack of books. So this week I actually got 14 comics. We're going to go through all of them, because why not? I mean, I don't think, let's just have some fun. You know, we're gonna chat. We're gonna talk it up. I have nothing else going on. I'm here with you guys, and a couple things I want to talk about real quick. Is obviously the Yisum Shin Kickstarter, which is still live right now, for the next 11 days. We got 11 days left on this campaign. So far, we are at 61% funded. We have 83 amazing backers checking out the campaign, which is fantastic. I'm going to drop the link here, and you can make your pledge now. We're only $2,000 away from being fully funded. And then after that, we're going to start to release some really cool stretch goal rewards, and hopefully we can hit all that before the campaign ends, because then I can get really creative and come up with even more cool stretch goals for you guys. We're going to talk about a lot of cool comics today. Honestly, this was a really big release week for me for what I pick up. And I typically pick up all the new stuff that's coming out from Marvel and DC that catches my eye. I'm a big superhero guy. You guys who watch Kicking It with Onrie, the live shopping show, you know that I'm always talking about and showing off different Marvel and DC books. Every week that I go to comic shops, I'm also digging back in collections, which was how I cultivate my collection. So we'll start off with, I guess should we go in order, or should I just kind of pick out what? I'll start off with a book that I've been really enjoying so far, Cyclops. So Cyclops 3 came out this week. I'll take it out of the bag and board. All these books, by the way, are not going to be up for sale. They're actually going into my personal collection. So this is what's in my personal collection right now. So Cyclops has been really fun. It basically takes place in the current continuity of everything. Yeah, this is total nonsense. It takes place in the current continuity of everything. There is this evil dude who is basically kidnapping mutants and like doing weird experiments on them and grafting them with like technology and stuff like that, and basically doing all kinds of abusive, terrible things. And he's doing all this on a remote island, and Scott Summers just happens to fly over this remote island, and he gets shot out of the sky, and he loses his visor, and he meets this other mutant who's right here. And she has these powers that basically give her super strength, but if she becomes afraid, she can't use her mutant powers. And Cyclops is blind, and he's trying to get his visor, and she's kind of like guiding him to it, so he's blind. And I've enjoyed it so far. I think the art's really great. Yeah, it is pretty much everything they did in the 90s, but it's nice to see Cyclops getting his own series even for a little bit. And some cool things happen. There's some good action sequences. And here's the thing. I mean, a lot of comics are derivative of things that we've already seen and all that. But I always like to pay attention to what artists are out there and see what's trending and what's cool and all that stuff. So I don't think Cyclops is a bitch. I like him. A lot of people don't like Cyclops. They all hate Cyclops. And I get why everybody hates Cyclops. I empathize with Cyclops because he has no choice but to be an asshole. You know, like, life has not been fair to this guy. And he's been an asshole to other people, but, you know, it's like what kind of goes around comes around. So there you go. So this series has actually been a lot of fun. I really like it. Alex Paknadel is the writer on it, and he's been doing a lot of stuff for Marvel. He also did this really cool series for Vault Comics called Giga. And I actually was going to pass on this. I really am not a big X-Men fan overall. I'm reading more X-Men comics recently than I've ever read in my life. But I was put onto it because a lot of people were saying that a lot of cool stuff happened in the first issue. So I picked it up, checked it out, and I'm like, okay, I'm on this train already. I'm just going to complete the series. And so far it's been all right. It's entertaining, you know? Wow, Black Cat's been good. I haven't been reading Black Cat. The next book I want to review is The Sentry by Paul Jenkins, and this I'm really, really liking a lot. Especially if you're a dog owner, this is really going to pull at your heartstrings. This new Sentry series is written by Paul Jenkins, and Paul Jenkins is the co-creator of The Sentry. And basically what's going on here is his dog has cancer. And so he's coming to terms with the fact that his dog is about to die, and he can't save him. And there's a whole bunch of other things that are going on with the void. So he's wrestling with the void. And the death of the dog, or, you know, the fact that the dog is dying, is really kind of like a catalyst for his struggle with the void. And this issue kind of ends on a really messed up note. And I read the original Sentry series, the first one that came out a long time ago, and I enjoyed it, but it's been such a long time. And, you know, after Thunderbolts came out, I was like, okay, you know, this is a cool character, and, you know, like, why not see what they're going to do with this. And, you know, I know that Jenkins, when he initially started writing this series, like, he kind of he baked it into the overall continuity of Marvel, like as if this character had always existed. And honestly, the Sentry has been a big motivation for me with the things I was doing with Warline, because, you know, it's like the hero and the villain are trapped in the same body, like that kind of dynamic. I really like that. So that was actually something I was exploring in the early stages of development for that. So seeing this new series, I can't say I was like particularly like excited about it, but I was happy to come back and check it out. And the art style is really good. If you guys are fans of Alex Maleev's artwork, he had a really legendary run on Daredevil and Moon Knight. He's done a whole bunch of stuff. Christian Rosado is the name of the artist, and his style reminds me a lot of Alex Maleev. Honestly, this has been a really good book. I highly recommend picking this up. It's on issue 2 now, so you can probably get issue 1 really easily. I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. And, you know, the dog death thing, that's kind of like, again, that's the catalyst, but it really pulls at your heartstrings, especially if you're a dog owner like me. So I've been enjoying this. I think this has been a surprisingly fun ride so far. We'll see where we're at on issue 3. Moon Knight. We're now on the 3rd issue of Moon Knight, the latest run here. And again, Moon Knight, kind of like the Sentry, you know, he's got multiple personalities, and each of his personalities help form, you know, the overall character. I've never really understood Moon Knight. From what I gathered from many conversations I've had and the comics that I have read, he was sort of like Marvel's answer to the Shadow, honestly, because you know, the Shadow had all these aliases, and that was the whole idea of Stephen Grant, Mark Spector, and Jake Lockley, and they were supposed to be sort of like aliases, but then they became their own personalities. And every single modern iteration of Moon Knight has really doubled down on the personality aspect of the books, because That's really kind of what it morphed into when Doug mentioned Bill Sienkiewicz were working on the series. So like they've really done a lot of development on that front, but it kind of makes the character a little incoherent for me. And it's just like, we're going to be edgy for the sake of having multiple personalities. And it's not really easy for me to follow it, I guess. Like, I mean, it's easy to follow, you know what's going on, but like, I kind of, it loses its sense of like logic. But it's kind of, I think he's just he's complicated for no apparent reason. I think you could really do a simplified version of this character and just make, you know, these other personalities as aliases, and that's it. And honestly, I think it was just such a strange thing, because it's like, who's Mark Spector? Well, he's, you know, he's a mercenary. Well, how is a mercenary? What is he when he's Moon Knight then? You know, and what's Moon Knight compared to Stephen Grant? And all of it kind of gets like muffled for me. You know, I kind of get lost in it. Now, to Tom's point, I do like the artwork in this book a lot. The artist is Devmalia Pramanik, and the artwork in this book does stand out a lot. There's some really, really cool moments in this particular issue where, you know, Moon Knight fights Bushman, who's his main art, you know, his arch villain. But I just love that splash right there. That's a really cool image of the two of them fighting and interlocked in combat. You know, I would say the art is probably the strongest quality of this. I read the first issue and I was not on board with this. And then I'm like, I saw issue 2 and I'm like, you know, I should never drop a book because issue 1s are hard. I'll give issue 2 a shot. So I picked up issue 2 and I was like, all right. And issue 3 came out and I was like, okay. So if you're a fan of Moon Knight, I think you'll feel right at home with this. Like if you read all the current iterations of Moon Knight, it's the same creative team of Ed McKay on the writing. So I think you'll be happy with this. For me, this is kind of like I'll follow this until I get really irritated and can't read it anymore. So you know, but honestly though, it's a really fine production in terms of you know, the make of the book, and I can't critique the writer either. The writer's not doing anything other than what, like, you know, he has to with this character. So yeah, it is what it is. Next up, I read Justice League Unlimited, and honestly, I started this series because I'm a real big fan of Dan Mora and Mark Waid as a team. I think they go together really well. They're like the peanut butter and jelly of comics, you know, like they're a stellar team, and Mora's cover here is just phenomenal. I love Dan Mora. Yeah, exactly, Tom. I think it will get canceled before I have a chance to get bored. But this latest issue of Justice League, this is why I don't like team books. Okay, this book is not for me. There's too many characters. I don't give a shit about any of these characters at all. I'm sorry. I just can't follow what the fuck is going on here. And I love Mark Waid as a writer. You know, the artist is not at fault here. I've been staying on this book for 18 issues so far, so that says more about me than anything. Like, I just can't follow what's going on. Basically, this is post-Knockout. I really like DC's Knockout. And in the post-Knockout world, Superman has disappeared. So he has now, he defeated Darkseid, and he's now just gone. And now Wonder Woman, Batman, and Captain Marvel are kind of like creating this new trinity and like trying to ally themselves with villains and give them amnesty, which is kind of the theme of this entire run. And so far, so you have like Lex Luthor and Giganta teaming up, and it's just like you get little bits and pieces of everything, but I feel like there's like this incoherence with the actual storytelling. Like I don't feel drawn into the story. I don't care about what's at stake, and that's, I think, the problem with it. But if you're a fan of Mark Waid's writing, you know, Mark Waid is just one of those writers that you can trust. You know that he's gonna tell a good story. Again, this cover is also very misleading because neither Batman shows up for like one page, Harley Quinn's not even in this, and neither is you know, King Shark. But if you're reading this series and you're liking it because you like all these team books, then great. But I mean, there's just so many extra characters in here that I can't keep up with I'll be back for issue 19. I promise you that. I've stayed on. Dude. I mean, I thought I was gonna like it when they did the most recent run, which was when Mr. Terrific 10 and Mr. Terrific assembled different heroes from different periods in their history, and kind of like they had like a special mission that they had to do, and they went to hell. I thought I was really gonna like that, but again, it just becomes this like it becomes incoherent. You know, I just have a really hard time following it. And they brought Batman Beyond. I thought that was Batman Beyond, but it turns out it's Tim Drake in the Batman Beyond suit. Like, I want Batman fucking Beyond. Like, you're advertising this as Batman Beyond, but it's not Batman Beyond. It's Tim Drake in a Batman Beyond suit. You know? Yes, I do need to be reading more Critter. Yes, that is absolutely true. Next book I got here is this is another same thing with Justice League. I'm just reading this because I think this book is going to help me like thin out what I'm picking up every Wednesday. But latest issue of Wolverine. So what I was just talking about nothing being at stake or me not caring about what's at stake, this couldn't be more true with Wolverine right now. Like I don't feel any pull. I feel like this is just another standard issue of Wolverine. And we've seen this 1,000 times. He's battling Hercules, and then all of a sudden, like they come out of like whatever spell that was like cast on both of on Hercules. Hercules had a spell cast on him by the adamantine, which is like the I guess now every single metal has its own personality. Like it's all like symbiotic, you know. So now vibranium has like a personality in the Ultimate Black Panther universe, and adamantium has its own personality, and it can control people too. And there's a god who's controlling it who's like, no. So, you know, there's the adamantine, and it controlled Hercules, and it made him bad. And so he tried to go after Wolverine, who's in this like remote town, like helping out these new mutants who I don't about. You won't give a shit about them either, I promise. Like, there is nothing about these characters that you haven't seen 1,000 times already in an X-Men book. So it's like, and they have the worst names too. It's Chowdown and Deepfake. Like, you will never see these characters get their own comic series. Nothing. Like, this is just who they are. Okay, like they're just in this book. Artwork really does stand out, though. I really like Martin Coccolo's artwork. I would say that's the one thing that really shines about this. And Dan Panasian's covers are just really killer. I love it. But I mean, is that enough? No, it's not. I want a story that's really going to pull me in. I want a Wolverine story that's going to say, like, I need the next issue really badly. I don't feel this way about this book at all. I'm sorry. It's not pulling me. And I could, and I'm not saying this to tear it apart, and I'm not challenging anyone. I'm just saying this is what I felt when I read this book. Yeah, I mean, the action's pretty good. I mean, if anything, that's the one thing that I would say is the saving grace of this. But, you know, the action in comics really doesn't hold much value if you're not invested in the story. You know, at this point, are you just reading the comics to study the art style, or are you actually like paying attention? Are you invested in what's actually happening here? And honestly, I've not been a fan of Saladin Ahmed's writing on Wolverine, and I really didn't care for his Daredevil run. You know, I just haven't been a big fan of the stuff that he's been doing. But, you know, he's out there, he's doing comics, and good for him. And, you know, I wish him continued success with everything. He's getting work. So, but I don't feel like he's really bringing these characters anywhere. I don't feel like we're being challenged to like talk about what's going to come next and really care about it. So this is just another issue of Wolverine. Get it while it's hot. And by the way, guys, thanks for tuning in on such short notice. We got people kind of coming in and out, which is cool. Next book here we got is Absolute Wonder Woman number 19. Absolute Wonder Woman number 19. This just came out, and I have not been a huge fan of Absolute Wonder Woman. Everybody goes apeshit over this book. I'm the one person who doesn't. But I've read every single book. I have every single one of them in my collection. One day I hope to sell it all off and put my kids through college, because that's probably what's going to happen. This is just such a well-received series. Hayden Sherman is the artist on this, and he's been the artist for the whole time. And just not really feeling it. His artwork doesn't really speak to me, at least right now. And I don't care for the story either. So this brings in Absolute Zatanna. And, you know, the difference between Absolute Wonder Woman and regular Wonder Woman is that Absolute Wonder Woman was actually raised in Hades. And so, you know, she's still Diana, but she was Diana raised in Hades. She never grew up in Themyscira. So she's now like doing her Wonder Woman thing, but she's, you know, got hell powers, and that's where the source of everything comes from. But she's still the same wonderful Diana that we know her to be. Like, she's got this kind soul and everything. And Zatanna comes in as like more of like a villain at first, and then you know, she manipulates Wonder Woman, and then, you know, Wonder Woman kind of breaks herself free of her influence, but then she falls under a spell, and, you know, Zatanna really shows that she's a hero here, and this is a very different Zatanna than the regular one, because that's, of course, what it has to be. I mean, this is just another book I'm reading. Yeah. I know I should, right? I should cut this crap out, but I'll tell you what, Tom, the big reason why I read these books and why I'm picking them up, this to me is tuition. You know, like, I'm going to come across these books 1,000 times over. You know this. We're going to be going through dollar bins at some convention, and I'm going to find this book. If I know what it's about, it's easier for me to talk about it and everything. And I try and focus on the strengths of every comic that I read. And this is a hot book. Everybody's talking about it. So that's one of the reasons why I'm reading it, is because, you know, I just want to see why people are liking it. And maybe at some point something will click for me, and I'll finally realize how great it is, you know. But yes, this is another series that I've been on for 1.5 years that I am not particularly like fond of, but I collected it anyway. The next book here is actually surprised me a lot, and it does one of those things that I really love, that shows that really showcases the power of what comics can be. So Absolute Flash number 14, which obviously has him up against Mirror Master. But this is a really cool book because very early on, it's going to force you to read it upside down, and you're going to be reading it upside down, and it's going to be awesome. And they did some really cool stuff here. I was really impressed with the presentation on this. This has actually been a pretty consistent book. If I had to rank where all the Absolute books are, this is definitely in the top 5 for me. I think Absolute Flash is better than most of them. You know, if I had to rank them, I would say it'd probably be Absolute Superman has the best art, followed by Absolute Flash, Absolute Batman, and then, you know, I'm throwing Martian Manhunter in the 4th place, but honestly, like, when I first started reading that book, I was not a big fan of it. I felt like it was too cerebral for this. It was attempting to be too cerebral for the sake of it, but, you know, it's grown on me. It's a book that I've actually learned to really appreciate, and it actually has got some pretty cool moments in it. It does some interesting layouts and things like that. And that's also what I read these books for. I look for interesting layouts. I look for stuff that's going to inspire me. I want to know what's out there. And this was a good read. I enjoyed this. So, you know, Absolute Flash has had really good art. Story-wise, it follows Wally West. So Wally West is the Flash in this universe. And the way, you know, if you guys have been reading the Absolute stuff, they've really shaken up like the rogues and everything. So who was a bad guy in the regular universe may not necessarily be a bad guy in the Absolute universe. And, you know, I think that's kind of cool that they switch it up. It's a different kind of retcon. It's not the same typical thing that you would expect. But what they did with Mirror Master here was cool. I like this. I'm actually looking forward to the next issue. I feel way more invested with Absolute Flash than I do with Wolverine or Justice League. Like, this book really kind of like, you feel the sense of urgency and the sense that Wally is inexperienced. He is the Flash, but he hasn't really like gained control of his powers. There's danger surrounding him. It could all end for him at any moment. We've seen it end for him in the comics. So, you know, there's nothing I would say that's necessarily protecting him. and that adds a sense of urgency and keeps you invested in what's going to happen with him next. So I would say if any of the absolute titles are really kind of like pulling you along and making you want to buy the next issue, I would say Absolute Flash is definitely doing its job, and I'm liking it. It's actually a good series. Next up, this is one of my favorite DC titles right now, and I jumped on once the All In initiative began, but Superman has been so much fun. I absolutely love Superman. This has been great. So obviously after the whole DC KO event ended, Superman disappeared. So Superman's gone right now. And in his place is Superboy Prime, who was actually a bad guy in the Crisis of Infinite Earths. Was it Crisis of Infinite Earths or Infinite Crisis? Sorry, Infinite Crisis. The other Crisis, whatever Crisis, the early 2000s Crisis. So he was the main bad guy of that, and he was a real big piece of shit. He killed, the Earth 2 or Earth 1 Superboy, and he got banished, and he was actually the Clark Kent from another run called Secret Identity, which was about Clark Kent in the real world, or a boy who's in our reality named Clark Kent. So this is a self-aware Superboy Prime, and he's now filling in for Superman, and it's really great. He works his as his alter ego. He actually works at a comic shop, and he meets a girl in this issue, and like a whole bunch of things happen, and it's pretty lighthearted, but it's lighthearted done right. And Josh Williamson is the writer on this. Dan Moore is the artist. This is one of the best books hitting stands right now. I am such a fan of the Superman series. Everything has been great. Superman has been what has happened for Superman is what I want to happen for Spider-Man. I want to make Spider-Man great again. What they've done with Superman, fantastic. I keep it coming, guys. Like, they're doing great work. And we're gonna get to Spider-Man, because Spider-Man's a character I got a real bone to pick with, especially this week. This morning I sat down and I read Captain America, Chip Zdarsky's Captain America. This is also one of my favorite titles that are hitting stands right now. The most recent Captain America iteration has been a lot of fun. Now, I'm reading two different Captain America runs right now. I'm reading this run, and I'm also reading Rick Remender's run. And after reading Mark Waid's run and Nick Spencer's run, I kind of realized that Captain America is a character that is constantly out of place and out of time. Not just in the sense that he, was in World War II and then, frozen and comes alive in the present day. He's constantly thrown out of time. And this has happened to him so many times. And I wasn't quite clear on the continuity of this when it first launched, because from what it was being pitched as, it was like, this is about the first encounter between Doctor Doom and Captain America. Like, that's where our starting point is for this arc. But it's actually taking place in the current ongoing world, where one world under Doom has just ended. So Latveria is now a collapsing society. There's a power grab, there's a resistance, and then there's Doom's daughter, who's trying to also consolidate power. And Cap is in the middle of this. He's sent out by Nick Fury to basically to stop terrorist attacks from exploding, and to help kind of like level the situation in Latveria. And things obviously get out of control because lots of things happen. There's another Captain America that gets boosted with the super soldier serum, and he ends up getting what is it? The thing that you get when when you get war depression. What is it? Damn it! Why is the word like escaping me right now? He's got PTSD. Sorry, PTSD. So he gets a PTSD attack because he was an Iraq vet, and he just completely loses his shit. Just starts killing all kinds of people and everything. And he's a Captain America with super soldier serum, so Cap actually has to stop this other bigger, bulkier version of himself, and now he's kind of gone rogue. He's like, fuck Nick Fury, I'm gonna do my own thing here, and it's actually been really good. I love Chip Zdarsky. He's one of my favorite writers right now. This was a great issue. It's been really consistent. I'm enjoying it a lot. What's up, Zach? How you doing, dude? I think this has been really solid. I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. I like how it's kind of like in this one area and not trying to like weave everything else in that's going on in the Marvel universe. Red Hulk does have a big role to play in this, but it makes sense because Red Hulk has been a major character throughout all the One World Under Doom stuff. Like, he was actually taken captive by Dr. Doom, and Doom was doing like experiments on him. So he finally broke free of Doom's grasp, and then tried to kill Doom and everything. And now he wants to control Latveria. And Cap is operating on his own, separate from Nick Fury. So it shows a lot of everybody's kind of in it for themselves from the foreign side, but Cap is really trying to, help Latveria get on its feet and erase or rectify, I guess, its bloody history. So this has been a really good series. You feel compelled to continue reading this because Cap is, he has been through this so many times, and he continues to go through this. Being in these situations where he's fighting oppressors and things like that. And there's one line in this that really just that got me. He said he was calling out to the resistance guys, and in the previous issue, there was a terrorist organization called Salvation. They killed a bunch of people who were against them, who simply spoke out against them. They didn't even attack them. But, he's got this really strong line where he goes, I fought Adolf Hitler. I fought the Red Skull. So think long and hard about what makes you, what that makes you. And, he's calling them out. And he's basically saying, like, I fought these bad guys before, and I have defeated them because they stood for something wrong. Think about where that puts you, and if you don't surrender now, you're going to regret it because I'm going to drag your ass out and I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And I love that. That is Captain America right there. So if you're looking for a good Cap book, the modern Captain America series, the books that are hitting the stands right now, this is one of the best titles from Marvel. And I would say, honestly, this is probably Marvel's top title right now. Captain America and Iron Man are the best books right now. And Cap has always been pretty consistent. I want to say, like, going back to Brubaker's run, and even before that, Cap has been a very consistent book for Marvel. And even now, it's great. And I like that it's not overly political either. It's not like, it's not, trying to tell you how you're supposed to think. It's not bringing up current events in the world. It's tackling its own thing. It could be touching on those similar subject matters, but it's doing it in its own unique way with its own characters and giving you the opportunity to formulate your own opinions based on what's going on in the story. This is really, really good stuff. Love Cap. Detective Comics, another all-in initiative that I have been enjoying so much. Every single one of these issues has been great. Tom Taylor and Mike Jannon are the go-to team on this right now. But Mike is not on this. McCall, I guess his name. The artist on this is, his name is Woods, but basically Pete Woods. So he did pages 1 through 7, 18 through 22, and then Bruno Abdias did pages 8 through 17. So there's some time jumping in this. And Batman, Black Canary, and Green Arrow are basically mourning the loss of a fellow hero who went by the name of, what was his name again? He was named after a bird. Prion. He's a marine bird, and this is what he looks like. He almost looks like a robin, but he's not a robin. He's his own hero. And, the book starts with them, busting a bunch of bad guys, and then Prion comes in and he kicks the crap out of everybody, and they all are just like, "Oh, damn, he's a good superhero. All right, we like this guy. All right, he's welcome to be a part of the crew. You know, we're gonna mentor this guy." And then flash forward 10 years, and he's dead. He's been killed. So now the team is trying to solve his murder, and you got a fun little team up here between Batman, Green Arrow, and Black Canary. And again, it's like they're trying to solve a murder. So, you know, who's behind it? You know, even though I don't know who Prion is, and I don't think we need to know. I don't think Prion deserves his own comic series. He obviously meant something to these characters, and he got killed. So, like, you know, you kind of want them to solve the murder of who killed him and why. And I'm on board with this. I really love everything that Tom Taylor has done with Batman so far. It's been a lot of fun. Next up, we got Infernal Hulk, which is supposedly ending in the next 4 issues. If you don't have this series, you're missing out. This is like the hottest thing since Immortal Hulk. So for those of you guys who haven't been following Hulk, Hulk has taken more of a supernatural path once Philip Kennedy Johnson took it over. And it went for 30 issues, and Hulk was basically traveling in like New Orleans and you know, in the South with this girl who basically is gotten these werewolf powers, and she's a monster and stuff like that. So this is a very monster heavy book, and they're escaping this creature who's trying to control both of them. And by the end of that Incredible Hulk, the monster, the main villain, takes control of the Hulk's body. So Bruce Banner has been separated from the Hulk. He is no longer the Hulk. He's living a mundane, boring life in Muncie, Indiana. And Infernal Hulk is causing chaos. And in this issue, everybody's been trying to stop Infernal Hulk, and they can't. So in this issue, Iron Man tries to go up against him, and he uses the Hellbuster armor, which makes its first appearance here. So this is actually a key book. With Hulkbuster, Hellbuster, just give this a shot. I mean, I think this is a really good book. I really love Nick Klein's artwork. He does the cover for this, but he does not do the interiors. The interiors are done by an artist named Gorham, who I think holds up in terms of like the style of the book. Like, I don't feel a jarring impact on Nick Klein being absent for this issue. This artist was able to kind of like hold it together in his absence. So this was fun. This was a lot of fun. This is, I would say, the top 3 books at Marvel right now, in no particular order, are Hulk, Captain America, and Iron Man. Like, these are the top books at Marvel right now. This is what you want to be reading. When everybody tells you, oh yeah, comics suck, like Marvel and DC don't know what they're doing anymore, they're saying that because they're not reading these books. These are actually good books. This is the stuff you want to read, and this is the stuff you want to study. So I highly recommend those. And then I have so much other stuff. I was planning to review like so much more. See, that's why I called it a mukbang, because I'm just reviewing all these books. There we go. Now we're getting into Spider-Man territory. So I got 3 more books I want to review here, and then that's going to be kind of like the end of my episode. But I want to do more in-depth stuff, because we're really going to take apart everything about Spider-Man, who is my favorite character. And before we do that, I just want to give another link drop for my Kickstarter campaign. That's probably one of the reasons why I decided to do this today, because I wanted to do my daily Kickstarter push. So you'll probably see a post from me soon, but we're at $3,053 right now with 83 amazing backers. We have 11 days to go, less than $2,000 to raise. I'm really looking forward to funding this. I think we're going to do it. So, and as always, if you're backing my campaigns, you're betting on a winning horse, I'm going to get you your books. Our books are done. They're being printed right now. The shipment should get here 2 days after the campaign ends. So fulfillment will begin just as, in a very rapid time after the campaign itself is finished. So if you haven't yet, please consider backing. If you're one of my regulars and you've seen me talk about this a million times, please share it. I'm going to be doing this for the next 11 days. So, just bear with me. But if you can share it out, that would be great. I'd want to get funded. And again, if you're waiting for that last issue of Yusung Shin, supporting this Kickstarter is how we're going to get there. So please consider coming on there. So, all right, first book. So Spider-Man is a character that I have experienced in 3 very different ways. And I guess we're going to divide it between the good, the bad, and the ugly. So let's start with the good. The good news first. Or do we want to start with the bad? Actually, let's put it out to you. There are 5 people in the room, at least from Facebook, watching this right now. I don't know how many people are on YouTube. But post it in the comments. Do we want the good, the bad, or the ugly first? Let me know. Someone who's watching this right now, just put in good, bad, ugly. Whatever you guys want. I'm waiting. Take your time. Okay, bad news first. All right, Katrina, thank you. All right, bad news first. I wanted to start with the bad news first. Amazing Spider-Man number 27, which completes a 9-issue storyline called Death Spiral, which introduces a new villain named Torment. And Torment is an interesting character. His design is pretty cool. This is him right there. And he kind of looks like a symbiote, but he's not a symbiote. He's, I guess, something else. But anyway, he starts killing a bunch of people. He kills people that are connected to Mary Jane, Peter Parker, and Eddie Brock, just like relatives. And that's how it starts off with, he's killing all these people, and they're all related to, Eddie Brock, Peter Parker, and Mary Jane. It kind of felt like what David Anthony Kraft would have called kicking the dog, where it's just like we're killing for the sake of killing. We're not really connected to any of these people that he's killing, but obviously Torment is heavily connected to Spider-Man. He is somehow very connected to these 3 characters. So obviously they're all pulled together. And Eddie Brock is now Carnage, by the way, and Mary Jane is Venom. So we got Eddie Brock, Mary Jane, and Spider-Man teaming up. And don't even get me started on Mary Jane being Venom. I really fucking hate that. I hate that so fucking much. There's no way you can explain to me why that works. It does not work. I hate it. Mary Jane should not be Venom. And if she was Venom, she should be a female Venom. She should not be, the big, bulky Venom. I really hate what they have done with this character. I've actually been trying to collect all of Donny Cates' run on Venom, because that was the last epic run of Venom. But Eddie Brock needs to be back as Venom. That's, I think, a general consensus that I think the majority of fans out there would agree with me on. Eddie Brock is Venom. Not Mary fucking Jane, not Dylan Brock. Eddie fucking Brock is Venom, period. That's it. He should be Venom, okay? That's what we need. Just like how Peter Parker is Spider-Man, Eddie Brock should be Venom. We need that, okay? We want that, okay? But now let's get into Torment, because a lot of his actions throughout this entire thing have been kind of nonsensical. He's killing all these people, but then the first person he kills is Shocker. We killed Shocker, who's kind of like a D-list villain. But suddenly Shocker's, shock-absorbing gloves are now the most powerful weapon against symbiotes. And so he's using this to basically hurt Spider-Man, Venom, and Carnage. He's obviously got a better... he's a new villain, but he's obviously handling this way better than the Shocker, who has over 40 years experience as the Shocker using these Shocker gloves. But, Shocker's a joke. But, clearly this guy is not. Okay, but we can forgive that, okay? Let's just say he knows what he's doing, and he's going after these characters. We have read 8 issues, and now we're on the 9th part of this entire run. And basically nothing has happened. These characters keep fighting, and then they keep parting ways. We're given little breadcrumbs to who Torment could be, and now we're at the edge of our seat, and we want to know who Torment is, and we find out. And just as I imagined it would be, it was very disappointing, because the answer is not really given to you. It's kind of like like, I don't know. It's not even it's just, you're not going to give a flying fuck when you find out. When you get to the final page of this, I dare you to give a shit about this. And, you know, Spider-Man teaming up, or Spider-Man getting absorbed by Carnage's symbiote, that part actually kind of saved it, honestly. It's not what you expect it to be. It's not a kind of bondage that you would think would be willing for Peter Parker. So what happens here is Torment initially bonds with Carnage because the Carnage symbiote's like, fuck Eddie Brock, I'm going to go team up with this guy. But then their team up doesn't work, obviously, because it's not supposed to work. It's part of the continuity. So Torment's like, fuck you, I don't want your stupid Carnage, you know, thing, and he gets rid of Carnage. So now Carnage doesn't have a host, so he decides to pair with Spider-Man, which, why would he do that? He's a killer. He would want to, you know, kill. But what he really is trying to do here is he's trying to take over Peter Parker's body. So he's trying to, like, basically, you know, do what Dr. Octopus did, like take over Spider-Man's body. And he fails, obviously. But that part, I would say, it's like it was well written. You know, like, I'm not going to just shit on a comic and say every single part of it is bad. There's a redeeming quality in every single comic out there. And if you want to just shit on stuff, you can do that, but I think it takes a lot more effort to actually find something that works in every single book that's out there. And there is stuff that works in here. So this is not like a poorly produced comic. What I think is happening here is that we have a very, I don't think Spider-Man has a vision for what it wants to be. And much like how Superman in Diametric Opposition has become this book that I now care about, and I can't wait for the next issue. I don't feel this way about Spider-Man. I don't care what happens going forward. This entire run has been pissing me off. You know, kind of started off great with Joe Kelly on board. He's been writing all these issues, and Joe Kelly's not a bad writer, actually. He's a great writer. And Pepe Larraz on the artwork. You know, like the first like 5 or 6 issues of this were, you know, kind of felt like we're getting back to the basics of Spider-Man, which is really hard to do now because they fucked with the continuity like so much. Norman Osborn, you know, is a good guy now, and J. Jonah Jameson knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Like, this is, it just doesn't work. And I'll tell you why it doesn't work. It doesn't work because there's no drama in Peter Parker's life anymore. There's nothing that is at stake anymore. You know, he was spending all these years trying to keep his identity from all these people, but now his most, you know, like vile, his biggest bad guy is his best friend now. Like, come on. And, you know, his biggest critic knows who he is. And in fact, throughout this run, Norman Osborn actually becomes Spider-Man because Spider-Man gets thrown into some cosmic adventure and gets teleported into a different part of the universe and ends up becoming a part of this, like, you know, poor man's Guardians of the Galaxy with Rocket Raccoon and this little symbiote, and he gets into a relationship with an alien and stuff like that. Like, it's just not a Peter Parker book anymore. And I don't care about what's going on in Peter Parker's life. But here's the thing that really doesn't work for me with this. So while Peter Parker is in space and other galaxies, on Earth, Norman Osborn is keeping up the role of Spider-Man, and Ben Reilly is keeping up the role of Peter Parker. So when Peter Parker finally comes back, who does he go after? He goes after Ben Reilly, and he's like, "You fucked with my life. Oh, fuck you, blah, blah, blah." And he gives Norman Osborn a big hug and a round of applause for taking on the role of Spider-Man. And basically, you know, you did your best, Norman. I can't get behind that. And then this whole Torment thing starts. And it's like all the things that they built up with the cosmic stuff kind of get pushed off to the side for a bunch of nonsense. I'm really disappointed in this book. I'm really disappointed in where the direction of the series is going. But I will buy this book every 2 weeks because I am a Spider-Man fan. And my hope, my sincere hope, is that this series improves. I want to read a good Spider-Man book. I don't want to be here telling you guys about how much I don't like a Spider-Man book. I want to come on here and tell you all the Spider-Man books are great and that you need to be buying them right now. This cover's great. I mean, it sells the book for sure. But like the content and everything, just not there. So that's my bad review. Okay. But not everything with Spider-Man this week was bad. Surprisingly, I read two really great goddamn Spider-Man books. So we went with the bad. We're going with the good. The good is Spider-Man Superman. Man, this is just a feel-good comic. It's fantastic. Brad Meltzer, great writer, and Pepe Larraz do the main story here. And it's a great story. Basically, Superman and Spider-Man are having a conversation, and Superman's trying to understand why Spider-Man does what he does, what motivates him. And they connect in a really special way. And it really pulls at your heartstrings. Honestly, both Marvel and DC, my hat's off to them. They've done a great job with the Superman Spider-Man and the Spider-Man Superman specials. These have been fantastic. This is really getting to the core of what makes Spider-Man great. It brings us back to what makes him wholesome. How he connects to Superman is great too. There's a strong dynamic between these two characters. It's sad that we only get to see them together so rarely. I really like how they work together, even though there's absolutely no reason why Superman would need to work with Spider-Man, considering his powers. But there are a bunch of other short stories in here. Some of them are kind of, throwaway and, they're short and, whatever. But some of them actually have some pretty cool moments. There's a really cool moment between Superman and the Hulk, which is really great. I really like that. It's illustrated by Gary Frank, an artist I'm a real big fan of. But then there are some parts of this that, they brought on Jason Aaron to do a story at the end, and it just felt like it was phoned in. It was not like he didn't really have a lot of room. Like he had how many pages? And I love Jason Aaron as a writer, by the way. So I can't know what he had to deal with the story, but he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages to tell the story between Wonder Woman and Jane Foster Thor. So, it wasn't a lot, but the last story ends with Jeff Loeb and Jim Chung, and they do this 1 2-page story at the end, and it's a perfect way to close this out. This is a great book. Go out and buy it. This is one of those novelty items that you are not going to regret picking up. But on top of that, it's really well put together. I wish Spider-Man as an ongoing series could be this much fun. So this is great. So see, I don't hate on everything. If I do hate on something, I hate on it for the right reasons. Jason Aaron has been doing great on Absolute Superman. His Absolute Superman is like great. I honestly think it's the most quality book out there right now from the Absolute line. It's really good. I love Jason Aaron, and it's like you don't know how this job came to him. You know what I mean? It's like he had to write a 5-page story. Okay, I got it done. It's out there. We had to, he had 3 hours to write this story, and so he wrote it. You don't know what happened. But the other stories, it felt like there was a lot of heart, particularly the main story here. That in itself is just worth reading. This is really, really good. If you go to your comic shops, buy this now before it sells out. This is really good. And this is going to get multiple printings. So get that first printing. And it's got a lot of different variant covers from very different artists. It's a very special thing. And I wish every single issue of Spider-Man was treated like this. I would rather see Spider-Man come out once a month than it come out every 2 weeks and just be what it's been over the last 5 years. So yeah, no, I did not read Bug Wars. What was that from Spider-Man? What was Bug Wars? Or is Bug Wars is that a different title? I don't know what it is, Zach. All right, final book I'm going to review today comes from my very, very good friend, Fabrice Sapolsky. And this is the ugly review. This is the ugly review. And I'm going to tell you why it's an ugly review. Because I know the history of what goes into this book here. But before that, I want to mention something. Out of every book that I have just reviewed this week, this book right here, Spider-Man Noir, the facsimile edition that just got re-released, this is the best book I've read all week. This book had the most heart put into it. Hands down, Absolutely gorgeous book. And knowing Fabrice personally, because we travel to conventions so often, and I know the story behind this, I know the pain that he has dealt with this. We talk about it all the time. We talked about it today even. I can honestly tell you that I understand why, because this book has Fabrice literally inside of it. Even the way Peter Parker is drawn here, I see Fabrice in this. And I called him up this morning. We had a nice long conversation. We were on the phone for about 2 hours today. And we were talking about a whole myriad of things. But the main reason why I called him was to tell him that I read this for the first time, because I didn't read Spider-Man Noir when it came out. I'm not a big fan of derivative versions of characters, particularly, Spider-Man. So this whole thing of the noir Spider-Man, it felt like a big gimmick, and I didn't care for it because it was a gimmick. That's the honest truth. So didn't care for it. But when I finally picked it up, because I now have this connection to Fabrice, it was the first book I read. And then I read all these other books. And the way this opens up is it opens up with a mystery. J. Jonah Jameson has been murdered, and the police arrive and they see Spider-Man with J. Jonah Jameson. That already sets up for the mystery. Who killed J. Jonah Jameson? And why is Spider-Man in the room? What the hell happened? And there's an action scene that ensues, and then we go back and start to explore this character a little bit. What's really great about the Spider-Man Noir story is that it's also illustrated by Carmine G. DeMonico, who does a lot of DC stuff right now. He did a Joker series. He was drawing Flash for a little bit. So Zach, you got that Flash book you bought for me on Tuesday, Flash 75. He was the guy who illustrated that. Fabrice, he wrote this with David Hine. But honestly, I'm going to say that Fabrice, I just, from everything I know about him, he's produced so many books that are of high quality. And he's actually got another book right now on Backer Kit. I'm going to actually drop the link for you guys. And if you can, please check it out. Fabrice has a good eye for quality and things like that. And honestly, like I told you guys, this was the book that really I thought stood out the most for me this week. And that's why it was the best book I read. And it came out 20 years ago. Literally 20 years ago. It's pretty interesting how he shows these characters. So Aunt May is a communist, and she's a big, proponent of the communist movement. So Mike Storm, remember that night when I came by to pick up those books from you? That guy who was with me was Fabrice Sapolsky. He is the co-creator of Spider-Man Noir. So he came to your house. He had a special surprise visit. But anyway, this is a really fascinating story because it pulls you into the world very seamlessly, which I was not expecting to happen because, again, I'm not a big fan of Spider-Man derivatives. But knowing Fabrice and everything, I was compelled to read it, but that didn't mean I was going to like it. I'm not going to just like it for any reason. I started to like it more because I saw what was being done here, and the way they did things with the way they introduced Norman Osborn and his gang, and particularly the Vulture. The Vulture is genuinely fucking creepy in this. Here's the Vulture. He's basically Nosferatu. And the way this issue ends is going to make you want issue 2. Like, you're going to need issue 2. And I'll probably do a more in-depth review once I've read all 4 books. So this was my first time reading Spider-Man Noir. The facsimile dropped this week, so pick it up. And Fabrice has actually got a whole bunch of these, and he is going to be selling it as a set to promote his most recent works, which is Intertwined, which comes after Spider-Man Noir. So if you like Spider-Man Noir, Intertwined is kind of where you want to pick up from there. And if you're going to like Spider-Man Noir, you should like it because of the direction that Fabrice takes it. And that's kind of what makes this ugly. There's a lot of drama behind what has happened with this character and how it's affected Fabrice. And what happened with him was he was not treated very well by Marvel. And Marvel is now releasing a new TV show called Spider Noir with Nicolas Cage, and Fabrice, he wants nothing to do with this. Like he wants to be known as a creator that did things that mattered to him, not because he was trying to chase the trope and work at Marvel. He really was not happy with the way he was treated at Marvel, and he would rather make it on his own steam. And he has been doing a really fantastic job of producing really quality books, which is why we dropped that backer kit link over here. So please check this out, guys. It's Red Flowers' his latest book that he has published, and if Fabrice is going to put his time and money into something, you best bet it's going to be something of high quality. But Intertwined is the series that kind of like picks up from where Spider-Man Noir leaves off, and it really captures the same mood and feel of everything. And Fabrice is working on bringing more Intertwined out there. But if you like the feel of Spider-Man Noir, his independent works are really where to go from here. But what really works about this is the noir feel of this is real. Like, I've read the Spider-Man Noir series that came out last year from Eric Larson, and it was very lighthearted in comparison to this. It was more like what you would expect something like that to be, and just very sort of like typical tropes being used. It's a very watered down version of this. This was like a real story with real heart put into it. Fabrice researched the times. He researched these characters. He's an immigrant himself. So he puts a lot of that into the story, and you can feel it here. This is not just another Marvel version of Spider-Man. This is something that Fabrice left his imprint. And when you compare this to like the latest issue of Spider-Man, which honestly I just don't feel had the heart in it, this really does have heart in it, a lot of heart in it. This just feels like a book that's coming out every 2 weeks. And there's a massive difference between this and this. And that's why I wanted to say that this was the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't want to go into too much of the drama between Fabrice and Marvel when it comes to Spider-Man Noir, because that's not my story to tell. I really feel like I just don't want to misconstrue anything that goes on. This is really Fabrice's story to tell. And maybe we'll have him on here when I read the whole thing. We can have him on here and I can do like a more in-depth interview with him. But the only reason why I would do that is not just to have you guys focus on what he's doing with Spider-Man Noir. It's to focus on what he's doing as a creator, because he's really trying to stand out in a very different way. And I really admire that about him, because a lot of people would say, hey, he should be following what he can from this. He should be milking this for everything it's worth. But Fabrice has made a decision to, follow his own path, and I really respect that. Being a guy who comes from a background where everybody, from a financial background, I should have been in the finance industry. I should have been a portfolio manager or something like that. But that path would have made me miserable, and I would not have enjoyed that. I would have really hated pursuing that path. Fabrice is doing what is right for him as a creator and as a person, and he's doing what allows him to put out the best work that he's capable of producing. This is kind of where he gets his major start and where his brief stint at Marvel began, but where his level of creativity kind of also begins to bloom too. So this is a really cool facsimile in the sense that it's also like has all the old ads in it and everything. Like they just literally reprinted the first edition of this book and made sure to let everybody know that it was a facsimile. So I'm looking forward to reading all 4 issues of this, and I highly recommend jumping on this because you can get it at your local comic shop. and discover more about what Fabrice is doing. Like I said, we've done a lot of conventions together. He's actually done a cover for me for Yisum Shin. I believe you guys have seen it already, but if not, let me see if I can pull it up for you guys real quick. He's done a bunch of covers. He did the Marks cover. Actually, hold on, I do have a cover from Fabrice here. Let's see. Where is it? You guys hear Beverly bark, it's because, yeah. Here's Fabrice's cover for Hunter Destroyer 3, which is available on Kickstarter now. You can back the campaign and get his awesome cover. You can also check out his backer kit campaign, and he also did the cover for Marks as well, which I think he did a really phenomenal job with that. And he's a really talented creator. He's done a lot of cool stuff. And so yeah, that's the ugly review, but ugly in the sense that I know a lot about what happened behind the scenes of that. Again, it's not my story to tell all the nitty gritty details, but that was my pick of the week, was Spider-Man Noir #1. And not because of my history with Fabrice, not even because he's done stuff for me, not even because I want him to succeed, but because it was just genuinely a very good book. So I highly recommend you guys pick this up. And if you're watching this later on, because this is one of those shows that I just kind of came up with, you can comment. Let me know your thoughts on what comics you read this week, what you think I should be reading, and I'll check it out. Also, I got my birthday coming up next weekend, so I'm really excited about that. So that's probably when I'll do the next episode, after I go to a bunch of comic shops and raid through go through all their stuff and pick up a bunch of free comics and all that stuff. I might come back on here and do a special episode of Onrie'S comic mukbang reviews. So see, and this was actually the big stack. I was going to review all these books too, because this is everything that I've been reading. So I am a voracious comic book reader. I highly recommend you guys all be the same way. Read comics, don't just buy them. They're meant to be read. They're meant to be enjoyed. So, keep doing that. Keep reading comics, not just from Marvel and DC, but from everybody, from all comics. So I didn't eat anything. It's like a mukbang review in the sense that it's a bunch of comics. So mukbang, I guess I was thinking of like large quantities, I guess. And I consumed the comics, like I read the comics, so I've consumed them. My consumption was there. Do you guys like the intro to the show? I like really slapped that together. Here, I'll put together another version of it without the timer on it, so you guys can see it again. And since we're on the air, I'll be on the air for like another couple of minutes here. Oh, you missed it? Okay, hold on. I'm gonna have to show it off again. Oh man, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, 1 second here, guys. Just trying to get rid of the timer.
What's up?
Hold on. Okay, there we go. Hold on. Bang. Views. No timer. Okay. Hold on, Katrina. There we go. Give it just a second here. What's up, Eddie? And guys, just so you know, I'll be on Eddie and Zach's Weirdo show tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to doing that with these guys. But you guys can check out my intro for this show right now with no timer. I just slapped this together. I slapped Uncle Jack yesterday. So hold on just a second here. All right, there we go. Check this intro out.
My name is Onrie'S Compin. You've seen me sell comics. I want to buy this comic.
Too bad, because that comic sucks!
You're watching Onrie'S Comic Mukbang Reviews. Prepare to get banged.
Do you like that how I added prepare to get banged? You guys feel like I banged you? this last hour and 9 minutes. If you feel banged, let me know in the comics. I did make that little kid cry. I think I made a lot of kids cry today. You could have taken it harder. You could have been. You needed a good mukbanging. Yeah, that's right. Even at my hardest, I'm still soft. So there you go. That's just a little way to end the show. Something for you guys to think about. You know, a little bit of that Onrie creativity. Guys, thank you so much for making this inaugural episode, which is a total fucking train wreck. Special. The fact that you guys just tuned in because I was here. I didn't promote this. I didn't plan this. Nothing. It just all kind of like came together. And if I showed you guys the very first episode of Kicking It with Onrie, it was just as much of a train wreck. No worries, Eddie. It's all good, man. This is out here for everybody. We got reviews of all the new comics that came out this week, and I'm going to try and do this as consistently as I can. Try and get on here once a week and just do this. So I will see you guys later. Again, I'll be on the air on Saturday with Zach and Eddie on the Weirdo Show. And make sure you back the Kickstarter for Yisun Chen. I'll drop that link one more time because, you can never drop it too many times. But big shout out to you guys because you helped us. We were at like 2,900 yesterday, and you guys helped push us over the edge. So now we're at $3,053. Which is fantastic. We have less than $2,000 and to raise, and 11 days left to go on the campaign. So, check it out. You can grab Fabrice's awesome variant cover, which is already printed. It's done. This is you're betting on a winning horse here. So, and be sure to tune in tomorrow for Weirdos. I'm going to be on with Eddie and Zach, and we're gonna be talking so much fucking shit. It's gonna be disgusting. It's just gonna be gross. Like, I'm gonna tell them about the Korean food I ate yesterday and the problems that arose from it afterwards, and it's just gonna be like a total, it's gonna be a very painful experience. If you've ever seen something, like if you've seen Faces of Death, it's kind of like Faces of Death, but with pee-pee and poo-poo in it. There's no death in it. It's just like pee-pee and poo-poo instead of Faces of Death, but like Faces of Death, like you can't help but watch it. Have you ever seen Salo? It's kind of like Salo. It's going to be like Salo. Anyway, we'll be on the air tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Mountain Time, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. So come on, it's a literal shit show, as Eddie said, and I've literally came up with the best promotion for the show ever. Watch this show, or you're gonna watch 2 Onrie's, 1 cup. I love it. That's even better. Fuck that. There's more like 3 Onrie's, 1 cup, and it's constantly, it's going 10 a.m. I said 10 a.m., not 10 p.m. 10 a.m. morning. Don't throw everyone off. Morning. You wake up in the morning, you're going to go out and party tonight. That's totally fucking fine. Go out and party. Go do a bunch of drugs or whatever. Just, keep it within reason. Don't do drugs. Drugs are bad. Sit at home and read comics and be a good little bitch. All right? Whatever. But you're going to go out and fucking party tonight. And when you're done partying, you're going to wake up in the morning, hungover as shit. And you're going to go and check out fucking Weirdos tomorrow at noon with me, Eddie, and Zach, and we're going to be talking so much fucking shit, you're going to think like you're still high on shit. It's going to be really fucked up. Hydra yes. Yeah, actually, Jay, I would love to be on the Hydra Hangout. Whenever you want me on there, I'm totally on board. We need to talk about that. I'll hit you up, brother. But guys, again, thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. I'll be back on the air tomorrow. These are my uncut, unsolicited unwanted reviews of comics. You guys all have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to back my campaign because it's my birthday next week. And if you love me and you really care for me, back my fucking campaign, you fucking assholes! Shit, my ass!